Hey, it's Coach Brian, and today we are going to talk about fear. And in particular, what is it that you are afraid of? Let's get started. Hey, it's Coach Brian. I'm so happy to be back here with you with another video. I am here to elevate your mental happiness. So let's get right into it. We're going to talk about fear today, and in particular, what is it that you are truly afraid of? What is it that you are truly afraid of? Now, while you're thinking about that for a minute, I'm going to give you a couple of things that went through my life, especially when I was younger, that I remember that I was extremely afraid of. I remember that I was afraid to fly. I remember I was afraid to take long car rides for the fear of running out of gas. I remember I was afraid of elevators. I remember I was afraid of water, in particular swimming. So those are just four that come to mind right away. And I bring those up so I can kind of bring this whole fear and being afraid conversation into a real focus here. Is what I try to do in all of my videos is not just teach, but give you some things to really think about. And really, as a teacher and as a coach, if I haven't gotten you to a place to where there's been a aha moment or a light bulb moment, if I haven't connected with you to where something made sense that you felt, okay, that makes sense on why I did that, then I haven't really done my job. And what's the purpose? We need to have some energy here. So those were the things that I was afraid of. Now, I've gone on for a couple of minutes here, so maybe you've got some things now that you've thought about that you were afraid of, or maybe still are afraid of to this day. So let's get back to the four things that I talked about earlier. And one of the things that I want to really bring to your attention is I wasn't really afraid of any of those things. Now, let me explain. The fear wasn't about flying. It was about crashing. I wasn't afraid of riding in cars for a long period of time and running out of gas. I was afraid of not being able to go further in wherever I was headed with whoever I was with, and be in unfamiliar territory or surroundings in the woods or some state that I didn't know anything about. I never really was afraid of elevators. I was afraid of getting stuck in one. I never really was afraid of water or swimming. I was afraid of drowning. Okay, so do you see the difference? What I'm trying to say here is that fear really doesn't exist. There's an acronym that I love to use, that I use often in some of my videos, and it's false evidence appearing real. You see, I just debunked all of those four things as a child that I thought I was afraid of, but in reality, I wasn't really afraid of them. I was afraid of the outcome that they presented, which in of itself was false. Right? Now, okay, I'm not saying that I could not have drowned. I'm not saying that the plane could not have crashed. I'm not saying that we could not have run out of gas. I'm not saying that I could not have gotten stuck in an elevator. My point is that the basis for me having fear, the basis for me being scared of those things had nothing to do with the moment. It had to do with what my mind was projecting was going to happen, which completely and totally blanketed and took over my conscious thought of the now. In other words, I had already convinced myself that no. That's the unseen. That's the unknown. I can't go there. I want to stay in my little box here where I know what's going to happen. I want to be confined in what I know is going, even if what I know is going to happen is not very exciting. In fact, it's very boring. In fact, it's very habitual. Which leads me to my next point. You see, as people, we are creatures of habit. We are. And it brings me to this interesting rule I have. It's called the 80-90 rule. Now, you might have thought I was going to say 80-20, but no. It's the 80-90 rule. Now, let me explain. We are so habitual as human beings that we have approximately 80,000 thoughts per day, right? Let me repeat that. We have approximately 80,000 thoughts per day. All of us. Now here's where the 90 comes in. 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts that I had and you had yesterday and the day before and the month before and the year before. And it's 90% of those 80,000 thoughts, the same ones we're going to have the next day and a week from now and a month from now and a year from now. Unless we get rid of this fear of the unknown and step out and begin to learn how to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Are you with me? Let me say that again. We need to learn how to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And that means breaking out from our habitual behavior. Trust me on this. The moment you make the decision to change something out of your sleepwalking life, you are going to feel weird. You are going to feel uncomfortable. You are going to feel different. Trust me on this. But you know what? That's a good thing, because that means that you are breaking the mold, the false mold of being afraid of anything, because fear doesn't exist, only love. You may be up against something right now. Let me give you an example. Maybe you just got an opportunity to get a job promotion. It's a great job, great company. You're going to be in charge of more people. It's more money. It's more opportunity. It's not a lateral move. It's up. You're going to get noticed by other people. It's an opportunity to maybe even move on to another firm or another organization or what have you. I mean, this is awesome, right? And you're really excited about it. But you've got this fear that is rumbling up inside of you, that just keeps bubbling up inside of you. Just the thought alone of taking on more responsibility incites this fear in you. Just like the elevator and the swimming pool for me, right? And so you automatically start to say, nah, And here's what we do. We do one of two things. We either decide that, I probably am not going to get this job. In fact, I don't even really want this job. I'm really happy where I'm at. And you make up these excuses like, I get to go home when I want. I know exactly what I'm going to do when I get up in the morning. I know exactly what I'm going to do at my job. I know what desk I go to. I know where the restrooms are. I know what time to take a break. I know what time to make phone calls. I know what time to get on my cell phone. I know what time to play games on my phone. I got the whole thing down pat, right? I can call in sick when I want to. I know who I can schmooze with, who I can stay away from. I got it all down pat. If I go to this new job, even though it's more money and it's exactly what I want to do, and I've been waiting for this opportunity for the last 3 years, there's this great unknown. So I'm good. That's the first scenario. The second scenario is one that's even more a little interesting. It's one we call the self-sabotage scenario. where we self-sabotage the whole interview. So you go in and you're in the interview and you basically are just mailing it in, right? They're asking you questions and you're mailing it in. And you think that you're just going through the motions. And you leave there and someone calls you and says, how'd the interview go? They're all excited for you. And you're like, I think I did okay, but I think there's probably some other people that are more qualified. So I'm okay if I don't get the job, right? And so you get the call or the letter and they say, we've hired someone else, but there'll be other opportunities in the future. And you're like, whew, sigh of relief for two reasons. One, you don't have to worry about any change. So that whole fear bubble thing is gone. And two, you feel good because you predicted the future, man. You were right. That's right. I knew I wasn't going to get that job. Feel good about myself right now because I knew that I was not going to get that job. And then you may make up some excuses like, well, I was qualified, but they, blah, 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 and, whatever makes you feel good at that moment. But the reality is, the truth, the why, the real why, is you were scared of the unknown. You were scared to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. You were scared to break out of your mold. And dare I say, what is your why? You, like I was, not afraid to fly, but afraid to crash. You were afraid to fail. You were afraid to fail. But let me throw something else at you that maybe you didn't consider. Maybe you were also afraid to succeed. Are you with me? You see, we also can get really, really, really fearful of success because it also makes us feel like, you know what? I'm not really worthy of this. This is not really who I am. I'm supposed to be mediocre. Mediocre is who I am. My mom was mediocre. My dad's mediocre. My family's been mediocre. My neighbors are mediocre. Everybody's mediocre. I'm mediocre. And that's just not true. You are pure love from above. You have the opportunity to do great things. There is greatness within you. And every day that you make up these stories about being afraid of stepping out of your comfort zone are nothing but stories. It's false evidence appearing real. Fear that doesn't exist. And I'll give you one last example and I'll let you go. There's one story I like to talk about where you are in this cubicle, and let's just call it kind of a box, right? Almost like a jail cell. And you got these bars that are in front of you, and you can't get out, and you can't get out, and you can't get out. And you're like, let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out. But you really don't really want to get out because you know everything about being inside of this box. You say you want to get out, but you really don't. You know why I know you don't want to get out? Because if you look to the right of you, you'll see that there's no door and you can just walk right out. And if you look to the left of you, you will see there is no door and you can walk right out. And you still stand there looking straight ahead like, let me out, let me out, let me out. Now that may sound funny, but it is so true. And we do it all the time. So I urge you, become your best self right now. Rise up. The universe will meet you. Do not let your greatness stay idle. The world needs your gift. You deserve it, not just to give it to yourself, but to give it to the rest of the world. You have a talent, you have a gift that needs to be celebrated for all of us. Wake up, get up, and go for it. I hope this video had some great impact on you. If you got some questions or any comments, please leave them below. Please also subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notifications button so you'll know when I do another video. And I'm just grateful to have you along for the ride. Love and happiness to you.